installation, paintings, dioramas, and then a live show, and they all work in relation to one another. I have a purely conceptual kind of visual layout, so it does end up creating a kind of collaborational source that, because I don't have to be an expert in everything, I just kind of know from a vision standpoint what it should look and feel like, and that's enough to get us there.
We didn't expect Corona to happen, we didn't expect a full-blown shutdown, but I knew that Derek has a... Derek knows he wanted to show up. I know when we talked about the theater, there's a vision, because sometimes you have to really go full-blown into something and say, this is what we're here for.
Wow, this looks great, man. Wow.
Curtain. We got a little bit of zhuzhing adjustments to do.
Marika!
Just a cog in the wheel.
Wow. Good to see you, man. Yeah. I'm very happy with this. I don't know. Sweet. How do you feel? Fantastic stuff.
This is half.
Wow. To make that.
Tomorrow we can still open this up.
There are distinct features to this show, working in concert with one another. There's vestibule at the very front.
It's just this huge 16-foot ruched monstrosity that's also just like super gorgeous. And then there's going to be all the lights going, and
I knew I wanted to do something that was responded to the site of a kind of garage space, but it had lots of verticality, you know, over 20 feet.
We're rigging a spotlight and a box that'll rotate a hanging sculpture to a truss 16 feet in the air. This whole curtain is like the sort of scene of the installation, and then the stage is inside at the bottom with the sculptures on it. And you know, there's a bit of choreography to the whole installation that I worked with Derek. And that's the part that I get really excited about, where it's actually kind of making it like you're walking into this like piece of choreography as opposed to just like a static installation.
You know, I grew up in Tennessee, and they would have tent revivals. I think being around 8 or 9 years old and wearing these like cheap hard-bottom shoes and mushing around on dirt and gravel, it evokes a sense of place to me. Certainly what a painting can't do, we're doing in here, and that's what's great.
I wanted you to come in, and that was the first experience you had. You know, and I joke that my installations are like a bucket of water. You know, it doesn't matter how long you have your hand in it, the degree of wetness is the same. I just want the impression to be there, and then you bring that with you throughout the rest of the installation.
In this show, you have like the vestibule, then you have the church room, then you go down the hall, and there's distinctly, he's made what, 1, 2, 3, 5 different shows.
You know, but like when you come off the wood floor.
Did you go into the?
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to
Quite a show, huh?
Quite a show.
The funerary room is like a place of memorial. You know, you have like maybe 4 paintings in there. There's a painting there called The Chorus of Maternal Grief, where each of the women depicted in choir robes are the mothers of people slain through police violence. And just thinking about the way that Black mothers have had to perform grief as an attempt to gain justice, which goes back to Mamie Till and her decision to keep the casket open on her son Emmett, and that we still do that in 2020.
I mean, it's very easy to look at them and say they're colorful and they're festive and not see more. And I think that it will be undeniable to people walking in what he is commenting on. I don't think that there could be a more important time for this show to be going up.
This is the church and the pew set up. It's like the kind of religious theme, and then as you look over, the first thing you see is all flowers.
Oh.
So I think those two will really be nice together.
That's really cool.
Down the corridor, there are 3 insets, dioramas, each populated with a singular sculpture and different kind of environmental elements.
I think this is a clear winner, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah, these are beautiful.
These are gorgeous.
So here?
Yeah. I'm like playing with Paul Rice. I gotta stop.
The 3 sculptures are nocturnal, Birmingham steel, And the third one is Cotton Sunrise. Those are kind of horse names that I created and gave these jockey sculptures, but I point to the legacy of the black jockey as evidence of what is typical of black moments of success, achievement, particularly when it's conditional around an ecosystem that's controlled by white wealth. It really is a meditation on the conspicuous absence of black jockeys in horse racing now. And then there's a larger painting gallery with 9 paintings.
Derek will be here soon. Friedrich's here. Some big choices, and then we get them up. And then we light, and we get out of the way, let people see stuff.
I'm just championing great art, and I'm happy to play a role in it. I wanted to see somebody that represented all this culture, all this place, and get it right, and get it on the big stage. And I'm immensely satisfied that that's Derek. I think he's 100% the right man at the right time with the right content. I'm happy to be there trying to put the light where it needs to be, because I have no doubt whatsoever it's what Derek's making.
I came here at 17 to paint. It creates additional pressure for me to have other elements because you run the risk of doing too much. And that's the good pressure that makes me say, I want it to be undeniable that as a painter, I can stand on my own 2 feet, as well as engage these other interests in ways that are additive. The futility of achievement has a painting of sculptures at the center, and a few jockeys in the back, and a cleaning lady. The trophies are kind of on a stage or in a kind of boxing ring, an encasing. I think this painting really was motivated by that sentiment that you cannot achieve your way outside of racism. It's not possible. I think Straw Man, in contrast, is about visibility, hyper-visibility. You know, I joke that Straw Man wants you to see everything but his strings, and that's a kind of performance of competency in the face of control, to really present as though you have greater agency than you actually do. It's one of the conditions of exceptionalism, being that magical Negro, is that you don't have to perform. So there are times I push against the white cube, but of course, as a painter, I also revere it. So I wanted a distinct space of consideration for painting, and I didn't want to confuse that. With this show in New York City at this time, I want to make paintings, and I want them to stand alone as that.
Ooh. We are back. If you guys can go wait in the space for further instructions.
On the other side of a curtain, there is Fly Away, the puppet show. I saw a show downtown of puppetry by a guy named Lehane, and I was just blown away. So attracted to the form. I didn't know I wanted to do a performance, I just wanted that. That needed a context, and the context I wanted was that you would go through a portal and be downtown. You would be in a legit theater.
Yeah, there are definitely challenges trying to create something that references theatricality and has a theatrical experience without literally being a theater. Yeah, Marika, Kent, the lighting designer, installed everything that's not fluorescent.
So I'm responsible for all the lights in the space. So when we came into the space, all this infrastructure wasn't here. So we had to put together a system that could really, really isolate this table and make it look like a show.
So when Derek first approached me about doing a puppet show and I was looking at his work, I assumed that the puppet would represent a black body and would be puppeteered by black puppeteers, because at worst it would be like minstrelsy to do otherwise. But Derek made me realize that systems of inequitable interdependence that so much of his work is about would not be best served by any other casting orientation. It's a necessary part of the piece. No matter how much this man, this puppet, is achieving, he's always under the gaze and manipulation of whiteness.
There's a whole conceptual framework around the work, and it will trigger conversations of what he's trying to do and where are we today in the culture that we live in right now. He brings something that nobody else has ever brought here to the table. And that's the conversation I want to have.